It's time for your daily dose of all things Chicago sports. This is the Daily Score. Now, here's your host, Mark Grote.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Daily Score as we continue to dissect another bad Bears loss, the 20-17 loss to the Cleveland Browns, where, again, they had a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter. It evaporated. It went away. Yeah, the Bears defense did make some mistakes for sure in the fourth quarter. They were not helped out by Matt Eberflus on the defense that he had called on the 3rd and 15 play. And I'm still sticking to what I said yesterday, that this was a game that the defense could only bail you out for so long, and the offense needed to execute more. And unfortunately, this is what we've been talking about all year. This is what we've been talking about since since I've been on the beat in 2018 and much prior to that. But, even in the Trubisky era, even back in 2018 when everything was good, at the end of all those press conferences, it was, wow, another pick six, oh my God, Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson. And then it was like, okay, how come there was no offense in this game? What happened to Mitch? Why is Mitch bad? And unfortunately, we're asking the same question. So let's get into it right now with Matt Eberflus, particularly on what's been going on with the offense.
Not a lot of offensive accomplishments the last couple of weeks. How do you fix it? Is it as simple as just working on technique, or from a coaching standpoint, what do you and Luke need to do to make sure you're in the right positions?
Yeah, it's imperative that we keep taking the shots down the field that we took yesterday. Obviously, we had one to Bobby. That was a big connect. It's important that we do that. That's a big part of it. We got DJ on the side. I think that was another big play. And then it's important we keep taking the shots down the field, because when you do that, you back people off. And it opens up the intermediate part of it. And you get people to play, more shell that way, and then we feel that can open up the run game for us too.
Matt, so why haven't those shots been taken more consistently in your mind?
Yeah, some of them aren't there. Some of them aren't there. Yesterday they were giving them to us. So when you take a shot, you always have release things down underneath, and sometimes we check those things down when they're not there. But you certainly have to take the opportunity. And you have to call the play.
Did you feel like it seemed like in the first couple of drives you guys were dialing them up and they just weren't there? Did you feel like enough of them were called that just for whatever reason Justin was able to complete them, whether it was pressure? Were you happy with how many shots were called yesterday?
Yeah, I was. And it's all based on the coverage, right? If they're in their zone coverage and certain things are open that way, and I think we took some good inside fade type man coverage. We just got to hit on those.
I think the offensive line played a big part in it yesterday. Justin Fields did not have a lot of time legitimately yesterday. I think there was a day that they met their match. And, let's not shy away from the fact that Cleveland is, even with all their injuries, an excellent top-rated defense in the league. So to some degree, it's understandable. But that was a big part of it. O-line needs to be better. Some play calls need to be better. Obviously, the 4th and 1 did not go well for Justin Fields. I didn't really have a problem with that particular play call because you are putting the ball in the hands of Justin Fields, and I think that's where it belongs in short yardage plays like that. But still so much to tighten up for Justin Fields, for the offense, and making it dangerous. It just doesn't have a consistent danger factor at this point. You hear Matt Eberflus talking a lot about executing. We just got to execute. Everything was in place. Just got to execute. Yeah, but why the lack of execution? We took that question to Bears tight end Cole Kmet.
I don't know. I guess if I knew that, I would we would have it totally fixed by now. I think it just comes down to every man. We just got to, you take one series at a time. You got to learn from the series prior and be able to take the looks that they're showing us, and maybe some looks that they didn't show on tape that they're doing differently to us, and we got to be able to, recognize that and adapt to it as players. So I think that's kind of all I could say to that.
With regard to moving on, that's been a strength of this team throughout this season. But you guys are human. There's a cumulative effect of responding to all these.
Yeah.
At some point, do you fear that, it just seems like the emotional dam will break? I mean, do you have to work that much harder?
Well,
is that a real concern, do you think?
Well, it hasn't yet, so I'm not concerned about that necessarily. Look, it's hard. I mean, I've been grinding this thing now. This is my 4th year in this, and it's tough, man. It's tough, and you come here every day wanting to build a winner out of this, and it's tough to have games like this, and games we've had like this prior where we've been in reach of winning the game and should win the game, and it doesn't come out like that, and it's tough. It's tough coming in this morning, and that's the feeling, and we should have had this one the other day, and but we got resilient guys in this locker room, and I think that's been proven over time.
I like part of me when I heard him say that today out at Hallis Hall, I was like, oh man, yeah, you've been having to deal with this every single year since you came in, like this losing and answering all these questions. But he did accept the $50 million bag of money, so he is going to have to stand up there and take it. And I don't know, I was not in Cleveland, so I don't know what was going on. But he did not speak to the media, Cole Kmet, after the game. I have no idea why, if he was busting out of there because he had to go, or if he was pissed off about something. Sometimes guys won't talk because they want to cool down. So I only bring that up because that's a rarity, man, when Cole Kmet is not front and center. So that's how frustrating I think yesterday was for these guys. In terms of the locker room, I'll say the same thing I said about the locker room last year. I don't think that this group of players can afford to be a bad or reckless locker room or have some sort of stand against their coach or any of that. And none of that appears to be popping up. There have been critics of, there were some comments made by some of the players yesterday in terms of the 3rd and 15 play that clearly I don't think that they thought Matt Eberflus put them in the best spot on that play. Flus admitted it basically, didn't said it after the game, said it again today that he didn't say he blew it, but you could infer from what he is saying that he knows that it should have been a different defensive alignment on that play. But yeah, I mean, this locker room has to stick together. There's still too many guys who haven't gotten paid. And it does feel like the guys that have been, the veterans, have been really good in their words. And as you just heard from Cole Kmet, another guy who the Bears gave big money to is Tremaine Edmunds. I'll let him speak for what went down with the defense yesterday.
It's definitely tough. I can definitely say that. But this game challenged you in different ways. The game is always won above the shoulders, and that's in the mind. You have to believe it in the mind before you can go out there and win. And we had a great group of guys in the locker room, great coaching staff. And each time we step foot on that field, our main goal is to play for 4 quarters. Obviously we know football is a game that you have to play until the final seconds, till that clock hits 0. So nothing really matters as far as like how good we play. The ultimate goal is to win. That's what we play this game for. Is to win football games. And, obviously we came up a little bit short, but there's a lot of good things that we could take away from it. Everything is not negative. Through the negative stuff, through the positive stuff, you can learn from it. And just with the leadership that we have, with the group of guys that we have, I know that we'll learn from it, and I know we continue to get better.
Flacco had 162 yards passing through the first 3 quarters. What did you notice them doing differently in the 4th quarter?
It wasn't really much that they were doing different. I think just eliminating explosive plays, which we preach day in and day out. That's what good defenses, that's what good teams always preach. You want to eliminate explosive plays and you want to get explosive plays on offense. That's the key to success. That's the key to victory. Obviously they had a couple of big plays that hurt us, plays that we definitely wish that we had back. And, I think that was probably the difference in the ballgame.
Yep, that is Tremaine Edmunds telling it like it is, and look, he always speaks inspirationally, which is good for us and bad for us because sometimes you just get the rah-rah stuff. But that's a rough day. Tremaine Edmunds did have the pick 6. The Bears have forced 14 turnovers in their last 4 games. Montez Sweat was a monster. That's what we should be talking about today. And instead, he's right at the end of the podcast. 5.5 sacks in 6 games with the Bears. And as far as the way things are lining up for the offseason and the draft right now, the Bears still do have the number 1 overall pick via the Panthers, who did win yesterday. The 2-12 for the Panthers. Patriots are right on the Bears' butts at 3-11. Same with the Cardinals, 3-11. But so it goes Bears 1, Patriots 2, Cardinals 3, Commanders 4 at 4-10, and then the Bears have the 5th pick at 5-9. So if you need a little something just to get you excited about what the Bears are heading towards, right now they have the number 1 overall pick in the draft and the number 5 overall pick in the draft. That is it for today's episode of the Daily Score. For our executive producer, Ray Diaz, I am Mark Grote. I'll talk to you tomorrow.